Um, Thanks for having me. And I was born Bill and became Dr. Pawluk. And then I guess before I pass along, I might be Bill again. Or my wife doesn't really want to call me Dr. Pawluk. So I guess occasionally I'm a Bill as well. So we touched on the subject yesterday. I'm going to go into it in a little bit more depth. Not a lot, because I don't want to be that redundant for too many people. But we know that, again, our environment is just loaded with crap, and that crap, electrosmog, is affecting us all the time. And it's getting worse every day. And if you live anywhere near a cell phone tower, if you live in an apartment building and you got masts on the top of your building, you're getting a lot of extra stimulation. If you have smart meters on your house or on your building, you're getting a lot of extra stimulation, more than you ever counted for. And in the last 10 years, it's become amazingly horrific. If you drive down the street and you see masts on apartment buildings, they're cell towers. And public buildings, playgrounds, churches, schools, they're all over the place. And it's very hard to get rid of them. Farmers put it in their yards because they make $1,000 or $2,000 a month just by allowing a tower to be on their property. So we're getting all of that plus everything that's in our homes. And now our homes are actually pretty dirty too. So microwaves do leak, so you're getting microwaves there too. Not much. I tested my own, as I mentioned the other day, by putting a cell phone in my microwave and turning it on, calling it, rather, it didn't turn on. Hallelujah. If it did, better get rid of it real quick. When I was on Coast to Coast, some guy called in and said he wanted to treat a rash on his arm, so he bore a hole in the side of his microwave, turned on the microwave, and put his arm next to the hole. Okay. So that's another way of getting treatment. Lots of downside to that. Dirty electricity is actually something that we just do not appreciate. And dirty electricity is in our homes. It's in any building that's wired. Anything that's got wiring in it has dirty electricity. So it's coming out of the wall sockets. I have a tester that I put on in my patient rooms, and I can turn on the light, and I can pick up a magnetic signal at least 6 to 8 inches away from that outlet. Radio and TV, less so today. The old CRTs used to be absolutely hogs and dinosaurs in terms of the amount of power they radiated. Radar, if you happen to be near an airport, you're getting fried. Right? If you're downstream from radar, particularly around military installations, it's 10s to 20s of miles away that you're getting radar. And then TVs and computers. Again, less so with the LCDs. This is an example of dirty electricity. Normally, when it comes out of the power plant, it's a nice smooth wave. But then the first building it hits, all the electronics in that building feeds back into the line. Actually goes back into the line. So it comes in and comes back out again. So it's a circuit. It's not just coming into your house and then it's just stopping. It's actually completing a circuit. As it comes out of your house, it's loaded with dirty electricity. All the electronics in that building are going back into the system. They're feeding back in. So downstream, if you happen to be at the end of the line, you're getting some very dirty, scary-looking electricity, and those are very high frequencies. So the high frequencies are the problem for us. It's really the ultra-high frequencies, the microwaves, the cell phone frequencies, megahertz, gigahertz, all of that is actually our problem. And now our homes are adding to it. So we want to protect ourselves against electrosmog because it's affecting us in a lot of ways. Increasing heart disease, increasing diabetes, causing cancers, causing chronic fatigue syndrome, decreasing performance, creating problems with sleep. I mean, the list is on and on and on and on. So it's really, our environment is actually working against us tremendously. So we have to be proactive to have that environment not rob us of health and performance. Right, this is the Schumann resonances. These are the resonances that are around the planet. I talked about them yesterday. So in that ionospheric cavity, we have waves, basically electromagnetic waves bouncing through that cavity. The ionospheric envelope around us essentially prevents these waves from going out into space, from dissipating. And our brains are completely tuned to that ionospheric envelope. And the Schumann resonance, the average of that resonance, which is called the first Schumann line, in that graph is about 7.8 cycles per second. So that is a relaxing, that's a theta band frequency. These are the human EEG bands, and theta is light sleep. Alpha is drowsy and relaxed. A lot of neurofeedback training is alpha training. Some of it is theta training, depending on whether you're using QEEG as well. But the predominance of neurofeedback training is alpha, is making us relaxed. Delta is deep sleep, and that's restorative, and beta is a high level of alertness. People who are getting a lot of beta are often very anxious. So if you have somebody who's very anxious, they really should be doing a lot of alpha. Now, the entire brain is not in these states simultaneously. Regions of the brain are in all of these different states. The summation, if you will, of these states throughout the whole brain are what produces sort of our general awareness and awakeness and sleepiness, tiredness, etc. So if you increase an area of the brain by 5 or 10%, that basically can dominate one's mood, that can dominate one's cognitive awareness. So alpha is relaxing and theta is very relaxing as well. So what we're trying to do is, in order to mitigate these environmental influences, you cannot cancel them out exactly. Because the last thing you want to do is produce a resonance at a high frequency to match a resonance that's in the environment. And there are harmonics of all these things. There are harmonics down and there are harmonics up. So what you want to do is to try to use harmonics that are low level, that stimulate the brain and stimulate the body in a way that causes an alpha theta state frequently, as much as we want it to. And we have constructive interference, which actually amplifies the wave, makes the wave even bigger. That's the result in that graph. And we have destructive interference, where they counteract each other, that what you have is a more neutral line. You don't get a benefit from having destructive interference. So we want to amplify the resonance patterns with the patterns that are already in our bodies, with the patterns that are already in our brains. So this is an example. This is a study done in mice with chronic leukemia. And this is pH changes in tissues in mice with chronic leukemia using resonance therapy. All right, now the blue bars are after BRT in the body, and the yellow bars are BRT in cultures, cell cultures. So they did various biopsies and so on of the mice after getting leukemia and then treatment. So they did treatment and they biopsied the different tissues. Like the tumor itself was relatively flat in terms of the green being the carcinoma or lymphoma, and the cell culture itself. Now the red bars are the normal state, or the intact animal that does not have leukemia. So the blue and the yellow bars across the spectrum show you that there's a significant increase between the blue and the yellow bars versus the green. So there are fairly significant, statistically significant changes in pH in the tissues with bioresonance training. So the point is that when we do resonance training to our bodies, which is relatively passive, we're actually helping the body to be healthier. This is a guy who has a cell phone against his head, no cell phone, and a cell phone. There's a hole above his head. Okay, that's how dangerous this stuff is. This is from resonance therapy from Biomeridian and EAV, electroacupuncture according to Vol. On the left side, there's two sets of graphs. On the left side of each graph is where it shows a resonance pattern that's not healthy. The red bars indicate inflammation. The green bars indicate health. The yellow bars, which are hard to see here, are neutral. So you can see before and after all the greens show up on resonance therapies after the fact. Same thing with the other two sets of bars there on the other side. Now what do we do to do this? I talked about it yesterday again, and that is to use something like the Harmony USB, which you plug into your computer. You can use it passively. You plug it into your desktop. Some other people here have suggested that we could probably get portable devices that you can plug it into that's a battery charger that are small and wearable. You could actually probably even wear it a good part of the time. You could use a similar sort of apparatus or use a USB connector and plug it into the wall and put it under your pillow to get you theta. Should help you with sleep. So you have basically a multi-purpose device which is not overwhelming, it's not too intense, not so powerful that it's going to control your brain too much. So we harmonize ourselves, we restore circadian balance. All this EMF stuff is really just demolishing our circadian rhythms, chronic fatigue, headaches, etc. So the Harmony USB, stop by our booth. There are other technologies, and we can talk about those when you stop by, because we're almost out of time. Thank you.